The Big Lerf Podcast, talking LRF and more. Hello and welcome to the Big Lerf Podcast. I'm Ben Bassett and I'm here with Rich Salter.
Hello.
Hello mate.
You alright?
It's been a little while.
Yeah, it's been a little while, hasn't it?
Yeah, we do say that sometimes on these pods. It's not always possible to get together and have a chat on record, really, is it?
No, it's been busy times lately as well, hasn't it? So
really busy, and obviously we'll talk about that, especially with the Big Lerf business going on.
yes, lots going on.
Yeah, it's
Lots
been
to talk
really
about.
good. I thought we might as well start off with a little catch up what we've been up to, because we've not really fished together a lot over the last few months, I don't think.
We have little bits and pieces, but yeah, not a huge amount, have we?
No. Might as well just to pick out a few highlights of what you've been doing recently.
Yeah, so most recently, well, fishing's really kicked off recently, last week probably.
So we're speaking, this is near the end of July now, isn't it?
Yeah, what are we on, 20th now? No,
20, we're the 20th today, yeah.
Yeah, so I think the mackerel shoals are finally showing up all around the coast by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
I went down to Dawlish the other day, met up with Joe and Mark Foster.
Yeah.
He come down from, I think he was working in the area, come down from up north. Yeah, we went down after the gurnard actually, but we actually found a load of mackerel.
Yeah, gurnard didn't get looking.
Not a chance. I reckon they just got out of the way and thought this is too much. You know, bit of peace and quiet. But yeah, you know, the classic summer scenes, white bait all along the shoreline, mackerel bursting out the surface. Mostly micro, you know, mini mackerel, like a few inches long, but then the odd bigger one, and then later on loads of scad, like
nice.
More than I've seen in a long time. So that was great fun.
So good.
As you know, they go like stink, don't they, when you find them? So
there was some quite good scad as well, weren't there?
Yeah, good sized scad, I would say.
Because normally it's the opposite way around. You get the bigger mackerel and the smaller
and the little scad in behind. Yeah, but yeah, we just as per usual, as it got dark or dusky, they came in within range, and we it was
How'd
good
you
fishing.
feel?
How do we feel?
I said, how'd you feel?
Had our feel, yes, indeed. Yeah, it was hard to sort of tear ourselves away as it got dark. You know?
I saw the picture of the state of your hands.
Yeah, that was the mackerel, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, bad day to forget the towel.
Yep, covered in scales.
Yeah, it's messy old.
It is a messy business. It really is.
But good fun.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think obviously you didn't join us when I came over when there was Sean to Dawlish, fish with Joe. We had about like a fish for an hour. I had 5 gurnard in a row. It was really nice. And then it just tipped down with rain.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah,
recall seeing the photos.
Yeah, it was like Joe was doing a wet t-shirt contest. It was horrendous. I've actually don't think I've ever been in rain like so unprepared and been out in rain like that. That was insane. It was really good fun. But the fishing was great, and then there was actually mackerel breaking the surface in the rain as well.
Were they?
That would have been really, and that was like probably over a month before you were.
Yeah, it must have been a few weeks.
Mackerel's been around for a little while, but they've really arrived in numbers.
Yeah, it's really getting to that point where they're just smashing it.
Because the guys in Hartlepool are getting absolutely millions now, aren't they?
Yeah, by the sounds of it, they're in Torbay, you know, and all the other places. So yeah.
So it's probably hell on the coast at the moment for everybody. So stay safe out there. Watch the 6-ounce leads.
Yes.
And feathers being thrown about everywhere.
Keep your head down.
Definitely be careful. Any other highlights? I'm trying to think. I had a nice wrasse the other night. I've been testing out. I mean, they're not new to us, but they're kind of new to the market. The gulp crabbies that are coming in. So we've been able to get hold of them for ages. A lot of people on here who would have fished them for a long time.
Yeah.
The guys in Ireland fishing them.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah.
But they're finally coming into the market and be able to just get your standard tackle shots, which is good. And I had a lovely wrasse on one the other night, and I lost them in decent as well. That was happy thinking it could be something really special, but I'll never know. And it'll always be something special now.
So not knowing that kills you, isn't it?
It is. It is. But it's nice to see the water come alive a lot more. We're, so many times we do this podcast and we're thinking, well, it's kind of going through a difficult time of the year.
I think we're just hitting that point now, aren't we, where things really sort of kick on. Yeah. And it should be pretty good right through now, shouldn't it? Yeah,
it's a really good time to lure fish, really. This is the ultimate time to do it.
Absolutely.
And I think what we'll do is we'll break down the big event that we've been doing, obviously just recently, and then we'll go into probably in part 2 what we do around this time of year, and also a few things about fish care. Yeah,
sounds good.
Cool. So obviously the main focus, and definitely why we had to sit down and have a chat, was just to try and sum up the madness and the brilliance that was the Big Lerf Fundraiser 2023.
Yeah, what a day.
What a day. It was just, I mean, we've done this, obviously this is our third time. The third time?
The third time.
It was the third time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it gets. I mean, I think the Plymouth one wasn't quite as big as the first one, but this one was our biggest ever.
Yeah, it was quite interesting, wasn't it? Because I think the ticket uptake was a bit more steady this time around, wasn't it? Rather than a big uptake early on, and it was sort of. But they just kept selling, didn't they?
Kept going, yeah. And so you had the idea to give the juniors free entry.
Yeah.
And which obviously I wasn't sure about at the time because I wasn't sure I was going to work in a fundraiser setting and everything. But I'll tell you what, it was a stroke of genius. I mean, I don't want to blow your trumpet too much, but like we had 17 juniors sign up altogether?
Yeah, I mean, we all three of us have wanted to get more juniors involved, haven't we? You know, and sort of encourage the next generation of lurfers. And I think the fundraiser was an ideal opportunity, you know, with the prizes that we had, and free entry just makes it that bit easier for the youngsters to get involved, doesn't it?
Definitely.
You know, 20 quid's a lot of money to a 15-year-old, isn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, any money is, isn't it?
Yeah,
really? We all know what it's like to be, 14, just.
Yeah,
or 15.
And you think of what some of them did to get to the event itself, you know, the transport and
people coming. Roscoe came up from the Scilly Isles on the train.
Yeah, amazing.
With his mum.
Fair play.
Who was lovely, by the way. I met her. She's great.
Yeah,
it's really, really nice. I mean, we might as well break down some of the sort of figures for it because it was quite a day. I mean, we raised £1,540 for tackling mines. I've been having a chat with Dave. Who runs Tackling Mines, or one of the team he does, and lovely guy, so appreciative of what the Big Lerf group had done, what all you guys had raised all the money for them. He was just amazed. He just couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
and, he's really opened his eyes as well to like LRF and what it's all about. So it was a win.
Good news all round. Yeah, a great cause.
And I think all that money's getting used to sort of buy new tackle and to help raise awareness. So that's a huge amount of money to be able to give to one cause.
Yeah,
so,
it really is. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. You consider that we raised that amount, and yet the juniors would come in for free. Yeah, it shows you how many tickets we sold.
Yeah,
which is amazing.
Brilliant.
Really good. So I think we had 93 anglers sign up. So 17 of those being juniors, and we only had 13 on the day who couldn't make it.
That's a good number, isn't it? Yeah. Especially because the forecast wasn't great either, was it? That was likely to potentially put a few off, but no, great turnout, wasn't it?
Definitely. And I mean, the weather-wise, it started off raining quite heavy, and then it just got better throughout the day and got really hot, actually, in the end. And I think we were lucky it wasn't the following weekend, because that was a complete washout.
Yeah, we got lucky again, didn't we?
We did. We really did. And obviously, if you want, not aware of it, I'm sure if you listen to this, you probably were, but everyone got a free T-shirt, which was provided by Not Guilty Press, one of our sponsors. Yeah,
those T-shirts came out lovely, didn't they?
They did, and they were really. It's just great to see everybody, and we had all. So Don, who runs Not Guilty Press, and so it was really his idea of doing all this, really, the sponsor the T-shirts and everything, and he put all the sponsors on the back, which I thought was a great touch. Great touch, yeah. So I think that just added a little something to those T-shirts, didn't it? It did. So as everyone's going around, you've got all these great sponsors on the back. You're like, well, I might as well list them now, actually. Yeah. So our main sponsors, we had Magecraft, Kitech, IMA, HTO, Savage Gear, Penn, Berkeley, Street Fishing London, Osborne and Crag, Can Fishing Lures, JonnyLerfer, and Tonego Max. I mean, it's a great list, isn't it? It's a great lineup. Yeah. It really is. And thank you to each and every one of those people who stepped forward and sponsored us. That was we really appreciate it, don't we? Yeah, we had an incredible prize list. Some really, really generous prizes. I think the juniors particularly were very, very pleased with what they got. They were buzzing, weren't they? It was great to see them. Lots of Savage Gear goodness and stuff. So, I mean, and they're new sponsors for us as well. So it's good to have them on board. Yeah. And it just feels like every event we're doing now, we're reaching out to different sponsors, different elements of the scene, and we're getting feedback and getting some. It's all positive, isn't it? Yeah, really. Things keep growing. Exactly, and that's obviously as much as we obviously put the work in for that. It's as much as the group is so positive that everyone wants to be involved anyway. Exactly. Yeah, we'd be nothing without the support of the group, would we? So. Exactly that. Yeah. And so, how did your day go? Obviously, we weren't really together for most of the day. So, we got kind of split up. We had different responsibilities, didn't we, on the day? We did, yeah. We spent the first 2 or 3 hours on Mountbatten, just sort of working our way along, chatting to people, seeing how they're getting on, logging catches, because I think the first couple of hours probably the busiest couple of hours in terms of logging catches. That first flurry. Yeah, a lot of rockling, which was a nice surprise, wasn't it? So lots of shore rockling being caught on Mountbatten, and I think, it was quite dull at first. And we had high tide. On a high tide, early-ish. So, probably
makes sense, doesn't it?
A good tip for people who are listening. So if you want a shore rock, then I think that's not bad conditions really.
And interestingly, a lot of people were fishing on the inside a bit further, sort of up the breakwater, or back towards the beginning, should I say?
Yes.
So, which was probably the opposite to what we saw last year.
That's true.
And probably a bit more rockling friendly, perhaps.
Yeah, we had a lot of wind coming at us, didn't we, from the sea, from the seaward side. So the inner side was kind of where everyone was focused.
Yeah, and I think that probably played into the rockling's hands, or against them, should I say?
Against
probably.
them, yeah. But it was, I mean, they're always good fish to see. In fact, some really long ones came out, nearly 30 centimetres. Some of them.
Yeah, good to see a few of the juniors getting excited about it as well.
Yeah.
It was nice.
It's really good because you don't see. I mean, obviously for bait anglers, I think we've said this a few times. Like for bait anglers, they're a pest, but we really don't see them that often on LRF tackle.
No, I mean, I think I've had 3 ever.
Yeah,
like, 2 have come from Mountain, funny enough, but yeah, to me they're a prized LRF catch. You know, it's nice to see them. And
they put up a fairly good scrap, and they got a bit of a. They're just quite cool looking fish, I think. Once you actually have a real good look at them, I think that dorsal fin, the very front one, that kind of, if you put them in a tank, you can see it. It's got like a vibrating. Yeah. It's like, it looks like it's pulsing. Apparently, that's I was reading a book about that the other day, and they reckon it's to do with wafting scent over their.
Oh, okay.
So tendrils and stuff. I don't know if that's actually the case, but
interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting adaptation. I mean, all the rockland species have got it, so it must be something important.
Yeah, obviously performs a function, doesn't it?
Yeah. And what was I doing at this stage? So we had John Locker of Fish Locker fame, rather famous in the fishing world, was joined us to do some filming about the LRF and stuff. And he's done a bit. He's aware of LRF, and we've actually been talking for a little while on the social media about setting up a meet and doing some a bit more in-depth LRF.
Yeah.
Because a lot of his fishing is not really suitable for it, but he's intrigued, and he's very much interested in all fish species. So
it was nice to see him come in with an open mind. Actually, he was really open to learning about it, wasn't he?
You never know how it's going to go, do you?
No.
You never know what. Also, when people are fairly well known, there's often a bit of negativity, or people don't know what they're like actually behind the camera, or also away from the camera.
Yeah.
Turns out, lovely bloke.
Absolutely. Yeah. Really nice guy.
Yeah. Really nice bloke, and we actually. I was really impressed by his. I shouldn't be, but I was really impressed by his fish knowledge, especially my mini species.
Yeah.
I almost thought he wouldn't be that bothered by him, but he really had a good knowledge of it.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed in his videos. Though, even when he's catching the smaller stuff, he knows exactly what they are and knows a bit about them. Which I mean, that's a sign of a good angler, isn't it? And we know he is sort of. And he had a few on the LRF gear in the end, didn't he? He did.
Yeah, I think he picked up 5 or 6 species throughout the day.
Yeah,
which is a good average.
Yeah, it was for on the day.
Because in there he's filming most of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's not bad at all.
No, very decent return.
So I sort of was tasked with being on camera and doing a bit of film with him.
Yeah,
which took way longer than I thought it was going to take.
Because it got most of your day, didn't it?
It did, yeah, and it was getting quite hot in the end and stuff. And there's obviously, if you strip back all the fun of the cameras and everything, it's actually quite a lot of pressure when you're doing a bit of you're filming, particularly when the people who are filming want to get something on film, and you're thinking it's not guaranteed you're going to get it.
No, fishing is never guaranteed, is it?
No, and there's a lot of like B-roll stuff you have to do and behind the scenes, and yeah, it's a bit of a slog, and like I enjoy the process, but I also like when you're thinking I've got log catches as well, it's quite a high pressure role. So
yeah.
So I did that most of the day, and when you're thinking I really need to catch something cool on camera, just so to really show off LRF, because like as much as we don't mind showing off like a little pout, it's not very exciting for like the common person.
Doesn't carry much glamour, does it?
It doesn't, no. And that's what literally one of the fish we pulled out was like a tiny little pout, and I'm thinking I can't have that on camera with John as like a great catch, you know?
Yeah.
Because not even we're looking at that going, that's not a great catch, you know? Like a little bumblebee. But thankfully, I had a bit of a Hail Mary sort of pass, and pulled out a lovely gurnard, which I think by the time I'd finished catching it and putting it back, had turned into this monster gurnard, because the way everyone was talking about it by the end. Carried around. It wasn't an absolute giant, but it was definitely for me from the shore, it's probably my best, I think.
So it was a decent one then.
Yeah, it was really stocky, nice fat fish.
Yeah, I've seen a
Beautiful
couple of photos. It was a nice fish, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was lovely. I was really, really pleased with that. To get it on camera, it's just the best part about that, really.
Yeah, especially on the day, because that was the only gurnard seen, wasn't it? So
yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm sure some of the guys would have preferred to get it.
Yeah.
They could have done with it on the day.
Yeah.
So it would have been in contention for longest fish, definitely.
Yeah.
But obviously I wasn't taking part, so that's absolutely fine. So what were you doing at that point? So this is later on in the day, I guess.
So yeah, later on we made a way across on the ferry to Sutton Harbour, got a bit of lunch, and again, we're just chatting to competitors. Saw Lucas doing his thing. He's it's actually quite interesting fishing next to him. Incredible eyesight, incredible sort of instinct for where a fish might be, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
He was spotting black gobies out sort of 20 yards out. I don't know how you do that, and catching them. So
his watercraft is great.
Yeah, and one of the few to catch a 2-spot from the spot that many people tried.
That was quite fun watching it, because I managed to sort of catch up with you guys, had a bit of lunch, and sort of managed to find you guys huddled in the corner. It was with Charlie Savage and Max as well.
Max was there, yeah. So Charlie managed to get one in the end. He stuck at it when we all like, well, let's go on to something else. This is futile, But it was nice to hear that he'd caught his after sticking around and
And for those who don't know how you would go about catching a 2-spot goby, you might as well talk about what we're here.
Yeah.
How do you go about doing that?
Well, I mean, I failed on this particular occasion, but they're the only goby really that you see up in the water, aren't they?
Yes.
So they look almost like pollock fry, don't they? Or a small pollock, just milling in and out of the sort of weed on the edge of the harbour. Sort of give themselves away sometimes with just sort of turn and you see a little fleck of blue or a golden belly, don't you?
Yes. And they are very small.
Tiny. So you're talking, this is where I think Tanago hooks really do come into their own for this sort of species, either a Tanago or you'd want to be sort of 22,
24, something like that.
Tiny speck of something on the end.
Yeah.
And just fish as light as you can up in the water and try and trigger. Ideally, you want a few to follow, don't you? And then they're competing, and one will hopefully take the lure. But they're tricky, aren't they? They can be really frustrating.
Sometimes they'll just. I remember that one. I don't want to get too distracted, obviously, but I remember that time you caught one during the Cornish Lure Festival, and it was like
on a size 10 hook.
On a size 10 hook, and like I've had it before in Mutton Cove, where I've had like little rattles and I've hooked into them, and I've caught them on size 12.
Yeah.
And yet you'll be there and you'll try that same thing in front of them, and there's no way you'd hook one.
No,
it's just like pure luck. So you do have to scale down for them.
Yeah,
you just have to kind of try and get them competing, and they are properly beautiful fish.
They are stunning. Yeah,
but they require a tank to really appreciate them, or maybe a larger one you can get a nice photo of. But they're such a funny little fish.
They are. Like you say, they're stunning though, aren't they? With the sort of electric blue running through there.
Yeah, you look proper mental when you're going for them.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, because you had like quite a big group of people around you.
Yeah, who knew it was such a great spectator sport?
I know. And they're watching you microfishing.
Yeah,
like proper microfishing.
Yeah, it was funny.
That is so funny. It's really good. So then I guess you went back. I went back over to Mountbatten, logged a few catches. There were a few cool ones coming in, but nothing too major. It was like I think Don of Not Guilty Press, he had a nice bass out of the harbour, I think it was.
Yeah, I think he went off on his own, sort of like on probably the outer areas of the harbour, and found a decent bass, or decent LRF size bass, didn't he?
Certainly for middle of the day.
Yeah.
On a busy harbour, that's not bad going, really.
No.
There were plenty of people going off to in the rock pools as well, I think, and had a few lots of blennies, and I think there's a few even dragonettes quite out of rock pools.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. So
it
shows obviously with a keen eye. You can see quite a lot of those sorts of things. They're all, most of these, particularly rock pools, tend to be done by sight fishing, so people are looking into these rock pools and finding them.
Yeah, that's right. But
cool.
it pays to just sort of mix things up and try different terrains or marks, doesn't it, to pull out those extra 2 or 3 species.
Definitely. I think the people who do really well in these comps tend to move around a lot.
Yeah.
Like, get the fish and go. Like Lucas only saw twice.
Yeah.
And he's back and forth. Will, I think I saw once or twice. I don't know. He was whipping around.
He was, yeah.
So these are. If you watch those guys, they do not sit still.
No. Always moving, always changing.
Definitely. So I think we got back. I did a little bit of bit more fishing with John, and then I sort of stopped and joined you guys, and we're just doing all the logging of the catches, trying to work.
Finally, trying to catch up, weren't we?
Yeah, and it was. I mean, we tried to do it this way where everyone would upload the catches as they go, but Facebook is so difficult and almost suppresses some of the catches, or you'd like one and that sends it to the top, and then you have to go back.
Yeah, it didn't feed them to us in a logical order, did it?
No,
which
so
made
it took
it really
a while
tricky.
to break that down. So yeah, but we got there in the end.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
bit of hard work between the three of us. We got it done, and then so we got to the end, and it was clear we had a few people who were drawing.
Yeah.
I think quite a couple of people finished on 8 species, but I think we managed to sort of break it down to who had the rarer species and who got something else.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll go through the results. Thankfully, I've got them in front of me here. So for the top 5, so this was the adults. This was, we figured that Matt Amos had the higher place with 8 catches, because he had the rarer catches on the day, I believe he did.
Yeah, he did,
Did he a shore rockling or something on this line? But I don't know, or was it a pout?
I was trying to think. I can't quite remember, but we did work it out.
We did work it out. And then, so Dan Cooper had a bit of a late, snuck in with a few extra ones and got 10. So that was really good. Nathan Patrick, who had a brilliant end to the
he did.
day. Yeah. We'll talk about that in a second. He finished with 11. And then we had Lucas and Will. So that's Lucas, Theo. Come on, how do I pronounce his name?
Theocharides, is it?
Theocharides, is it?
Something like that.
Yeah.
We need to get that right, really. We mention him enough times.
We do. He's just Lucas. Whenever I say Lucas, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And Will Pender, obviously. They're both on 12.
Yeah.
12 species. The way we worked out with the very top wouldn't be settled by who caught the rarer fish. It would be caught by golden fish off.
Everyone wants that golden fish off, don't they?
Everyone wants to see that. And that's what happened with that. And so we all gathered round, watched the two of them fish, which was really good fun.
Yeah.
And I think Will dropped a fish, and then Lucas got one.
Yeah.
Got a shanny.
And then Will hooked one seconds after as well,
He
so
did,
it was a really
pull card
close run
afterwards.
thing. Yeah.
And the way, there's a brilliant photo, you may have seen it, it's where Lucas is bringing up his shanny and Will is celebrating with him.
Yeah, fist pump in the air. And
which is just so good.
Yeah,
exactly
really.
What we want to see. I mean, the juniors was really good. Again, we had quite a lot of ties. We had, so Roscoe, Dolbert, Aaron Chambers were drawn on 4 species each. Aaron was the one who got the pout. I remember that now.
Oh, yeah.
And so he had a higher place. So he came 4th. Will Birch, again, one of our sort of stalwarts, won it last year.
Yeah.
With a golden fish off. He came 3rd, but that's because Reuben Judge got a slightly rarer species, which was the shore rockling.
I think it was a rockling, yeah. Which he was absolutely over the moon about.
Yeah, he was really, really pleased about it. So they both finished on 6, but Reuben finished above him. So a really good performance by Will and Reuben. And then Tom Barron finished top.
Yeah, fair play.
Again, he's won plenty of he's starting to build up a nice collection of rods, actually.
He is, yeah.
For us. 7, he was, he walked away with, nice Savage Gear SGS 6. 5-gram rod.
Yeah,
a few other bits.
Well deserved. Yeah. Shout out to Reuben as well, because we actually had him down for 7 species for some reason.
Yeah.
And he was very quick to say, no, it was 6. So,
he was honest.
Yeah, fair play. Straight in there with that.
Yeah, he's a good lad. Really good lad. I mean, they all are.
But that was probably the highlight for me, seeing the juniors and like the camaraderie between them and how much they were just enjoying getting stuck in and fishing together. It was lovely.
So a lot of them have been talking online for quite a while, and some of them obviously live quite far away, like Roscoe.
Yeah.
Obviously, Reuben lives in LRF Paradise in Foy, but he doesn't get to see a lot of these juniors a lot.
No.
So it's just really good to see that, as you say, that friendliness between them.
Yeah. Tom brought a couple of his mates up to have a go for the first time, and they were loving catching, brand new fish species to them.
And they did well, actually.
They did, and they stuck at it, and we're genuinely buzzing to catch.
Yeah, the juniors was a real highlight, I think, of everybody. We all appreciated seeing that.
Yeah.
Longest fish, as we said, was Don, Not Guilty Press, with a bass of 35 centimetres. There were a few, there weren't many mackerel caught, and there was the nearest longest fish were some of the rockling that were measured, I think.
Yeah.
Coolest fish was Matt Barnsley. So this time it was quite a bit more of a humble one, but it was the leopard spot goby, because pulling a leopard spot goby out of Mount Basson in the heat of the day.
Yeah, that's a good catch.
It's really cool,
a rare one.
And I think it's the first leopard spot we've had recorded on a fundraiser.
Is it?
Yeah. So that was really good. Smallest fish went to Shane House. I say he's a friend of mine, but he had a common goby that was under 3 centimetres. It was
I did like his reaction to it, and that it was very funny.
Yeah,
very funny guy.
He is a funny guy. He just wants to. He wanted to win something, and I'm glad he got the smallest fish because it's just the most ridiculous prize as well. But And then we had the top knot prize. It's worth telling that story.
Yeah.
So we had a sort of there were sort of rumours, weren't there? We were getting everything ready and stuff, and then someone shouted, was it? How'd that work out? Did Nathan get hold of us and say, did he upload it?
I think he literally legged it down the pier, didn't he?
Yeah.
To tell us and say, have I got this in time? And it was literally as everyone was climbing up over, wasn't it? He caught it. So
he literally on the photograph, I think it's like 1 minute before 6, he showed us on his phone and he uploaded it at 6.
Yeah.
So he just scraped in because there was a few people who think he missed the cut-off by like minutes, I think.
Yeah,
And we do try and be strict with the cut-off because, we've got to be fair to everybody.
Yeah.
And he just snuck it in, and obviously the only top knot of the day. And he was over the moon with it, wasn't he?
Yeah, there's a nice way to end it, wasn't it? You know, we always push the top knot prize, don't we?
That's it. And we did have a prize for like catching fish on unscented lures and metals and things. But again, like last year, the fishing was so hard that I think everybody just kind of didn't really bother with it. I think the people who did try really struggled.
I mean, hats off. I saw Kev Farnell like going around sticking to soft plastics and stuff, and it was really hard going. I saw a few people offer him some iso, and he was like, he stuck to his guns and he's like, no, I'm sticking with this. But it was a hard day for it.
That was a really hard day.
I think Josh did the same, didn't he?
Yeah, and he struggled as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if it was maybe at night, I think you're having a much better day.
Yeah.
That's a much better day at night. But you I think you're probably getting a little bit more activity on the predators. I think middle of the day it was really tough.
It really was, yeah.
Yeah, and there were people struggling on all the scented stuff. So
yeah, well, it was tough fishing, wasn't it, for a lot of them?
Yeah, as it often is. These things, these are not easy events by any sense of the word, but
no.
So it was great to see that. So what we did is we transferred that prize over to the top knot prize. So Nathan walked away with a load of amazing stuff.
Those prizes for the most species on unscented were good, really good prizes. Yeah.
So that's is what it is, isn't it? So
we'll keep trying.
We will. So you handily put together some stats from the event, which I thought was which I'll pass on here. So we had 23 species caught altogether. Yeah, which is pretty good going.
That's very good, I think.
Yeah, 79 anglers participated, which is our highest ever turnout. 267 individual catches recorded. There's probably actually a few more than that by people who didn't post them. But that's 267 catches, and so it's an average of 3.379 species per participant. So if you got more than 3 species, you're above average.
Yeah, basically.
So that's pretty good. So it shows how tough the day was. And I think we had the same number of mackerel caught as we had ringneck blennies. Yeah,
which says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, which shows how hard it is in the middle of the day in early July.
Yeah, and we found that on every one of our fundraisers, haven't we?
Yeah, if you're going there expecting to catch a load of mackerel, it ain't going to happen.
No.
One day it will happen, and the mackerel turn up early, and we'll just get absolutely battered by them.
Yeah, and we'll ban mackerel because there's too much work on it.
It will be, yeah. But so I mean, thank you guys for getting involved in that. It's amazing. Yeah, we are brilliant. We're so lucky to have everyone, who does this with us, and and obviously just this incredibly good group of anglers who we've managed to find.
And I think that was the main feedback we got, wasn't it, of what a friendly bunch everyone is. Yeah. And, people that are new to it felt welcomed and got a lot of help and advice, which hopefully help them carry on and get involved in the future. Events.
Yeah, definitely. And we're already obviously thinking about the next fundraiser, where it might be, and we'll post more information about that in the coming months.
Yeah, we've already had people asking about that, trying to think about accommodation and plans and stuff. So
yeah, it's very likely it won't be in Plymouth.
Yeah,
so we'll just say that for a minute.
We like to change it up, don't we?
Definitely. So we'll close that for part 1, and then we'll have a little look at some different stuff in part 2.
Yep.
The Big Lerf podcast, talking LRF and more. Welcome back. And we just wanted to talk about, this is a real exciting time of year, as we said in the beginning, and it's a good opportunity to talk about how we're fishing at the moment and what we're using to really make the most of this sort of time of year.
Yeah.
I know it can be it's easy to say, well, everything works this time of year, but for people who maybe haven't fished LRF at this time of year yet, because they just started out, it might be a good opportunity just to talk about that. So I think it's a really good time to start experimenting.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah.
Because I think the fish are a little bit more forgiving.
Yeah.
Because they're all fired up and they're ready to go.
Things are moving now, aren't they?
Yeah. So, for you, what what brings you the most joy this time of year? What are you trying to fish with?
Well, I think once we get to this moment, like the session the other night sort of feels like a sort of starting point for when things really get going, if you know what I mean. So it's a great time to chuck metal around.
Yes.
You know that the pelagics are out there.
And what kind of metals are you chucking around? Let's talk about that.
So, and in terms of brands,
brands.
So I've been fishing a lot with the Savage Gear flat lines lately, the tungsten jigs.
And they come in 5 gram.
5. You've got some 8s, haven't you?
I've lost all my 8s.
Have you?
Yeah.
On the seabed somewhere.
Yeah, they're gone.
Ouch. So I've only got the 5s, but they've been great. I picked up all sorts on those already.
They're really tiny, small profile.
Yeah. So the benefit of a tungsten jig is a smaller profile, isn't it? And a lot of fish want that smaller profile. You can chuck it out a lot further because it's being a smaller profile. It cuts through wind, cuts through current, swell, doesn't it?
They're good for working the bottom. They definitely get down there.
They are. And when I held one against a whitebait that washed up the other night, they're a perfect imitation as well.
Yes.
So match the hatch. Doesn't always work like that. You can sometimes doing something completely different to the hatch is what you need, isn't
sometimes,
it?
But when a fishing's hot like that can be a really effective way.
So metals are great. I mean, I like fishing metals all year round when you think there's a chance, but now it ought to be really productive.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, really.
Because I mean, we obviously last time we haven't had a podcast since you caught we both had Couch's Bream on the same metals.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's like, and I had loads of Gurnard on the same metals the other day. I'm not saying this isn't like an advert for those particular metals, but just saying that it's a great time to start experimenting with those.
It really is.
Building your confidence with them.
Yeah, because if you were doing that in March, April time, you'd have a pretty tough time of it, really, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's not good for confidence, or you don't really learn anything from it because there's not really anything, or unlikely to be much out there that's gonna take an interest in what you're throwing out there.
Often, yeah, when the water's a bit colder, your fish aren't going to chase it as much. No,
they're a bit more lethargic, a bit probably further out in that colder water, aren't they? They're a bit deeper. You can still have good days, but now's the time when you're likely to have a bit more success on it, and you sort of find out what does work,
for sure,
what doesn't work.
So obviously other metals are available. What else were you using?
The old favourite Major Craft jig paras.
Yeah. Is that in the regular?
In the regular, I prefer the regular, to be honest.
Me too. Yeah.
Slower fall.
Get a nice little sort of fluttering fall, don't you?
Yeah. Again, a silver one was the most successful. Match the hatch again.
They're such a successful.
They are. Yeah.
We've said it many times.
Yeah. Yeah. Always got a few of those in the box, and
they're
a go-to, aren't they? Really. Yeah. So that worked really well. But Joe, the other side of me, was obviously throwing all sorts of weird and wonderful things out.
It's a shame he's not here right now to talk about it. But he's always got some crazy stuff in his box. Yeah,
and then Mark, the other side of me, was trying surface lures. He was getting some boils up behind, so that was quite cool. But now's a good time to sort of try, I think, more active methods, isn't it? If you do like throwing jig heads, soft plastics around, now's the time when you will get stuff chasing, and
and I think it's probably a good chance to as much as obviously we love and completely respect the use of the sort of fake baits, the artificial baits and everything. I mean, you've been over the last 2 years probably just been really focusing on trying to up your count on unscented. Or unscented, use it in brackets because obviously a lot of these ones still have scent on them, but talk that through. How would you go about? We had obviously on the fundraiser we had guys trying to catch stuff with unscented lures, which is difficult. But how would you go about it in the warmer months?
Choosing the right profile of soft plastic is pretty key.
Yes.
You got to think what you're fishing for. If I was fishing in rocks and things, I'd generally go for something a bit wormy or shrimpy.
Yes. Which are
trying to think what I've done well on the jackal. I don't know if I say this right. Ami is it, or like a little, it almost like a little shrimpy type thing.
And what sort of length is that?
I think that's 1.5 inches, but the sort of last half inch is a thin tail basically. So and a thin profile.
A bit like, well, the booty shake has a similar sort of profile.
Yeah, they're great. Again, they're sort of somewhere between a shrimp and a worm, aren't they, or a little fry or something.
I think and just what you're looking for really, if you're going for these sort of like unscented ones, that very thin profile,
slim profile,
very soft plastic is what you're looking for. I mean, Callum at Can Fish and Lures does some nice ones, but you can obviously get all the nice tarty ones from Japan. But
I'm fishing on a sort of size 14, 16 hook, so that's sort of size that real microplastics are, I think, and that's what gives me the most success, really scaling down and fishing that sort of size soft plastic, rather than a 2-inch paddle tail or something,
which is just isn't gonna, you can bump that around the rocks and stuff and you might get a wrasse, but like you're not going to pick up as many species.
No, you're sort of thinking wrasse, bass, mackerel for those sort of size, aren't you? That sort of pollock things.
And how are you rigging these?
I like them on a jig head quite often, or a cheb.
What sort of weight?
I think the lighter the better, really.
Yes.
So it depends on conditions. Fishing under a gram is sort of the ideal, I think, because you're getting that slow fall, and I think the longer you can give a fish to look at something, this can go the other way, mind. But just if you can get something fluttering and enticing rather than plummeting past it, you've got more chance of a bite.
I think so much of like of LRF is finding that sort of perfect level of minimize resistance, but also keep the sensitivity in contact. So you can go ultra sharp. I mean, you could fish almost weightless, but you might not keep in contact with the lure. So then if a fish does bite it, you're probably going to miss it, because the difference with these unscented is the fish isn't going to hold on to it for as long.
No. So movement is key, isn't it? So it has to be moving, but it's getting that balance between too fast and too slow, really. Because if they do get too long to look at it, or, the movement's not there to hook them, then you might have missed your chance.
But you can get stuff like, I mean, people don't traditionally think of like tom pots as being something you can get on unscented, but you definitely can. You've had obviously gold cinny and wrasse are quite willing, I think, actually. Gobies, they'll take them, won't they? Gobies are really good fun, I think, on the soft plastic.
They are really hit, don't they? Pout, porcod, pollock, of course.
I think it's just fun to build up that species count on this unscented. I think be brave this time of year is what I think we can say, is just try different things, especially as, I mean, we're speaking at the end of July. It's only going to get warmer for the sea at the minute. I mean, August obviously and September are great months for that. You can be really brave.
Perhaps if people aren't so confident, and it's something I do, fish start off with isomi or something. Establish what's there, because if there's nothing there, then it doesn't matter what you use, does it?
That's true.
And if you start picking up a few fish, then switch it up. Experiment.
And if you're struggling, you can always resort back if you got that bit of bit of isomi in the bag. But
depends how brave you're feeling, doesn't it? Really.
I mean, I think we all we start off with big ideas of like. I know I did. So I talk about my own like sort of journey on it. I bought all the different soft plastic lures, very excited. And then I just ended up fishing like, I don't know, an eco gear shirazu and stuff, or like a jig head or drop shot, whatever, or cheb, sort of religiously, because that was what get me bites. But it's only through confidence and time and building up that I could then change that over to slightly different ways of approaching it.
Exactly.
And then as you find more, you really find what you're confident with.
That's right.
So definitely about balance. I think the tackle is important. I think if you're fishing with slightly heavier braid, you're going to really struggle with those ultralight.
Especially those sort of methods. You need to be in contact. You need to feel those little taps and plucks, don't you?
I mean, obviously, if you can fish. I mean, obviously, I use Esther, which on clean ground. I wouldn't fish it anywhere near snags. That's good. But also, I've been using this Shinsei. It's a Unitica line. It's like a hybrid between nylon and Esther.
That looks quite interesting.
I really like it. As I've been using it. I had a top knot on it the other night. Same sort of sensitivity, just maybe a little bit less than braid. But you don't need to use a leader.
That's a big bonus, isn't it?
Huge bonus. I don't think it's as strong as, like, say, equivalent fluorocarbon. So I think, though it says it's £3, it's probably just under, I reckon. But
what's it like abrasion resistance wise?
It's okay, though. I did get bitten off by a conger twice the first time I used it, but maybe that's
I think a conger would bite through
that's
pretty much anything we put on our rods.
I don't know why I come across a conger every single time I don't have the right stuff for it. one day I will come across one where I've got the gear to actually tackle one.
Yeah.
'Cause what's more annoying about that conger is that he was the perfect size to pull out on like slightly heavier tackle. He was not a very big one at all.
Yeah.
But he bit me off twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a silly thing. But
That's
yeah,
frustrating.
it was frustrating, but that is. So, but I'm not saying you have to go out and get that line, but there's just try different things. Try and go ultralight with the lines, and it'll make your life a lot harder, lot easier. Sorry.
Definitely.
So so soft plastics, metals. They're the sort of main one that you tend to focus on this time of year, getting really embracing all that. But also, it's a good time to get out your hard plastics. If you've got like a little crankbaits, little things like that, it's a really fun time. Top waters.
Yeah.
Fish are active. If you can find fish that are feeding, which this time of year it's a little bit easier than normal. Just experiment, try different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get out those creature baits that you've been in the bottom of your bag for ages.
Yeah.
Try bumping them along the bottom, or if just try different things, experiment, and so you've always got the backup of the old ways of of your drop shot and your jig head and stuff that you feel confident with, but mix it up.
Yeah, now's the time, isn't it?
Definitely.
The next few months are exciting. So.
Yeah, and I think with the heat, I think it's important for us to talk about something that we've been having a chat sort of off the microphone. Really, was to talk about the fish care.
Yeah,
because that's quite important when LRF is mostly catch and release, other than obviously a few mackerel and things like that, maybe a bass.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the time we're releasing the fish that we're catching, so it's quite important that we are looking after them in that way, because we want them to go back so we can potentially catch them again, or catch someone else can.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would sort of wanted to get your thoughts on that, really. Any sort of tips to avoid hurting these fish more than obviously having a hook through their mouth?
Yeah, obviously now this time of year we're catching a lot more as well, aren't we?
Yeah.
So cross your barbs to start with, I would say, or use a barbless hook. That makes life so much easier. It's better for the fish.
Yeah.
Easier to unhook.
You can catch more fish as well because you can get that one off the hook quicker.
Exactly. Yeah. You can lose a lot of time unhooking fish, can't you? Yeah. And then if you lose your hook, whatever, retying or whatever. But yeah, barbless or crossed barbs.
Yes.
Forceps and disgorgers are really handy, aren't they? Especially for the smaller stuff.
Definitely. Striking early, I think, is a good one.
Yeah.
Try not to deep hook your fish.
Yeah, that's important, isn't it? We've got to try and certainly don't leave your rods unattended.
Definitely not. No.
Hit those bites, and because then you rarely get really deep hookers, do you? If you're feeling through touch and strike early enough. With
balanced tackle, it's very rare.
Yeah.
It's only for your own. Maybe you think that it's a smaller fish. That's the only time I ever deep hook a fish, I think, these days is if I think I've got a smaller fish attacking my lure, which actually it's a bigger fish.
Yeah, and he's wolfed it down.
Yeah. And I've left it too long.
Yeah.
But I still, because I've got all the tools, I mean, I can't remember the last time I left a hook in a fish.
No.
It's very, very rare.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
It gets easier with practice, doesn't it?
It does.
But if you sort of start off with doing the basic things right, then it's a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
In terms of when you catch fish, try and avoid putting them on hard ground, especially hot hard ground. It's not
like
good
concrete
it's not a good look, is it? It's not good for the fish.
No, and it's sort of, it's a couple of things really. It makes for rubbish photos, and it's no good for the fish at all, because you think about how hot. I mean, even just being out on the rocks, putting a fish on the rocks is just a bad idea.
Yeah.
Try and find some seaweed. Try and find a rock, maybe a shallow rock pool. So I always think they make lovely photos. In a little shallow bit of water. Yeah, they do. It's quite
good.
Often when you're out on the rocks, you can find that.
And they'll tend to sort of rest up a bit then, won't they? And sort of stop thrashing around and potentially hurt themselves that way.
Definitely.
I mean, ideally, try and wet your hands, isn't it? And things like that. Have a rag maybe if you don't want to touch them.
Yeah, wet rag would be as ideal.
Yeah.
Obviously with certain species, obviously we've talked about before in the past with like mackerel and things like and garfish, which lose their scales really easily. Try to avoid grabbing them really like right round the body, because you will just strip the whole scales off. Yeah. If you've got a wet cloth, that's a little bit better. So I've used grips in limited fashion. Try and lip grip them. I try to as much as possible. Yeah. Because it's just going to help you. Or keep them in the net. That's another one. So if you've got a fish, with a mackerel, if there's loads of catching, a single hook instead of trebles, that's barbless, you can almost shake them off the hook.
Yeah, it makes life a lot easier, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. So that's a good tip.
But the net tip's good as well, especially like when I'm fishing boulders. I quite often have the net just propped on a rock open, if you know what I mean, so I can literally just lower the fish into that net there and then. Is a safe place to put it while you
stops them from flapping around on the rocks and dropping.
A bit protects them a bit.
It's also good because it's a good sort of opportunity to talk about photos, because like, I mean, a big part of LRF, a huge part, is taking nice photos, I think.
Yeah.
And quite often you want to. We had this with Fish Locker the other day at the fundraiser. He brings around a bucket.
I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, and he gets like a big freshwater bucket, obviously fresh saltwater, gets it, and then just has that with him. And so what he does, because he's filming, he wants to sort of show off the fish. He puts the fish in the bucket, which is the same as what we've been doing with the tanks, but on a bigger scale.
Yeah, yeah.
And Max had a lovely Morocco, I think it was.
Yeah, that was nice.
Like big sort of soft tank that sort of holds like a good couple of litres of water, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And it was a perfect way to show off his top knot, wasn't it?
His top knot, yeah, which obviously he was able to keep in there for a little while because it's like a little aquarium.
Yeah.
So it's all things like that, having that on. So if you don't have any tanks, you can just use a net. So even for a small fish, as long as it's not small enough to get through the gaps in a net, you can use that as a... Just keep it in there, refresh it, get your photos, then put it back. I mean, and there are certain species that I think just try and get like one photo and then chuck them back. It's like poor cod.
Yeah.
Poor cod just seem to like just disappear in your hands.
Yeah, they do. They fall apart, don't they?
Yeah. So minimise your touching of them as much as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think it's anything else you can think of in that respect.
No, that's it, isn't it? Minimise handling as much as possible.
Yeah. I mean, landing mats if you've got them.
Yeah.
You know, for larger fish is a good idea. Particularly wrasse, bellum wrasse, appreciate that, I think.
Yeah, they're quite fragile as well, I think, aren't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, no one's perfect, are they? We've all made mistakes. We've all, And
fish mortality is part of it, and there will be some. But if you can minimise that to the absolute maximum.
Yeah, just do what you can, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like you said, you want to catch them again, don't you?
Absolutely.
Or catch their offspring again in the future.
Definitely. And we'll just finish off, I think, talking about what's next on our agenda.
Yeah.
We're building up to it now, is the Big Lerf Weekender.
Yes, not too far away now, is it?
Not at all. So obviously that's happening on the 8th of September to the 10th of September. I've got, by that point, and maybe even by the time this podcast comes out, I've got a baby on the way, my first. So I've got a son.
Yes, exciting times.
Yeah, very exciting. So I won't be participating in the same way as I always have with the weekenders, which obviously
it'll be strange.
It's bittersweet. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing that's happening, but also I'm gutted to not be there with you guys. But I'm hopefully going to join you maybe for one of the days if I can get away. Depends on the boys' needs.
Yes.
But I'll be really, really hyped to see all the catches come in.
Yeah.
And I'll be logging all these catches, doing as much as I can in between feeds, probably. So what's the aim of the weekender? So, I mean,
this is where we started, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Really.
This is our fourth one.
Yeah, fourth one is very much a sort of group collective thing, isn't it? Some sort of everyone comes together basically to try and catch as many species as they can on lures, isn't it? That's the sort of primary.
And it's across the whole world.
Global.
Yeah. So whether you're in Europe, Australia, America, you are welcome, and we would love to see your catches.
Yeah, the more we can get in, the better, isn't it?
Yeah, and we've actually got some. I mean, we're building up the sponsors list at the moment. I haven't got them all locked down yet, so we can't just confirm them all. But we have got some good ones.
Yeah.
I think we probably can announce Nerd Fishing, who are so. If you don't know who Nerd Fishing are, they're a Greek sort of independent tackle company who are like producing custom lures, custom rods, loads of stuff. It's all LRF focused.
Really exciting stuff.
Yeah, George and the team there are amazing. And, literally couldn't be more like-minded to us. We're really on the same level. Yeah. And
he seems genuinely excited about it as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, so we're really excited to get that sort. So they're going to look after the international prizes this time, and so there's going to be prizes for coolest international fish, so that gets voted by everybody, and that's for the adult. And there's also the top 3 coolest juniors international will get prizes as well.
That's really cool.
And there are a lot of prizes as well.
Yeah.
So we're expecting a big drive, hopefully. So it'd be a good opportunity wherever you are in the world to go fishing with your kids, and get some cool fish, get some cool photos.
Yeah.
Something. And they've got a really good opportunity of winning.
Absolutely, yeah.
That'd be really good. We've got plenty more to announce with that, so keep an eye on the Big Lerf page on Facebook or Instagram or the group. And we're going to obviously batter you guys with that over the next sort of month and a half once we've got everything announced.
Yeah. I think we've got some genuinely exciting prizes and things, haven't we?
Some very exciting prizes, which obviously, we can't wait to announce, really.
No.
Definitely not. So, more to come on that one, and we'll obviously hopefully get a chance to talk about it on the podcast again and really go over what happened during that mental weekend, as it always is.
Yeah, can't wait.
And I wish you the best of luck for that.
Yeah, best of luck.
Yeah, so we'll wrap it up there, but it's sorry it's been such a wait for this episode, guys. It's obviously busy lives and everything, only going to get busier.
Yeah.
But we'll catch you with you soon, and tight lines.
Cheers.
The Big Lerf Podcast, talking LRF and more.